Pro-Palestine, anti-Israel protests on college campuses dominated the news this past week. Jewish students were redirected for their own safety. They were told to go home and stay home. Several schools told students to finish their semester online. I read an article this week about the early stages of anti-Semitism in pre-World War II France. The author wrote, "In 1941, my Jewish father lived in Paris. He was only 16 years old. He lived with his parents in the 13th district. I remember him telling me how his Jewish father was asked to turn in his bicycle to the local police station. As a citizen in good standing, he did. And so did tens of thousands of Jews. Now the Jews were stuck at home with no mode of transportation. But maybe the underground metro railway, as long as they wore their yellow star patch and only used the last car of the train." Jews being told to stay at home for their own safety, this author says, is eerily reminiscent of first steps to the Holocaust. And maybe we don't see it because we're not Jewish, but it's not so subtle. It's right there. Alan Dershowitz commented, "During recent protests in New York, there were calls to repeat the barbarity of October 7 1,000 times. There were shouts of 'We are Hamas,' 'Death to America,' 'Burn Tel Aviv to the ground,' 'Jews go back to Poland.' The chant of 'From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free' is pervasive. Free of what? Free of Jews. The goal is to make all Israel Judenrein, ethnically cleansed of all Jews. What is demanded is the end of Jewish presence in the Middle East." Researchers agree that we are witnessing anti-Semitism in an unprecedented way around the world. CNN reported anti-Semitic incidents in the U.S. reached their highest level last year since the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, a civil rights non-governmental organization, began recording them in 1979. Anti-Semitic incidents have nearly tripled in the last 6 years. Last year, criminal and non-criminal cases of harassment, vandalism, and assault of Jewish people perceived to be Jewish, hit record high levels in the United States. An organization called Combat Anti-Semitism reported, quote, "a nearly 60% increase in anti-Semitic incidents in 2023 globally." The Jerusalem Post said the annual report for 2023 and January 24 on the fight against anti-Semitism published by the Diaspora Ministry, the World Zionist Organization, and the Jewish Agency showed that between October and December, the number of anti-Semitic incidents worldwide increased sixfold, or 235%. As much as 2,500 years ago, the Bible predicted that the Jews would be dispersed from their homeland to all the nations of the earth, but that they would return and that Israel would be a nation again. And these are a series of remarkable miracle prophecies that have come true. And so, there's no doubting that they have fulfilled prophecy by being in their land. But it says also that she would be hated, despised, especially Jerusalem would be a source of constant tension and turmoil throughout the entire earth. Anti-Semitism is nothing new, but the current global irrational anti-Semitism is. It is unprecedented. That's the word that keeps getting used over and over again, and not by Christians or Jews, by secular commentators. And this is what we expect would happen in the end times based on reading the Bible and the Old Testament, especially prophetic books. And so while all eyes are on the Middle East, we are looking where? Up. "For the Lord himself will descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of an archangel, and with the trumpet of God, and the dead shall rise first. Then we who are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and thus we shall always be with the Lord. Therefore comfort one another with these words." That's the resurrection and rapture of the church. It's an imminent event. It could happen right now. Are you ready for the rapture? If not, get ready, stay ready, keep looking up. Ready or not, Jesus is coming.